weekly talk or lecture or insights into the area of giving, our charitable givings from corporations, foundations, the government, your taxes, and lastly, ladies and gentlemen, you. Today, we're going to talk about something that's sometimes people, they look at you and they tend to measure you based on your numbers. They look at our numbers and our financial numbers, and they say, well, very small, very nil, perhaps because it's so small, we can't deal with it. Same thing with the numbers we get from the YouTube numbers, the Twitter numbers, the numbers that we get. People look at it and says, how can you expect to make an impact with such small numbers? And although we look at that and we realize that this is a very powerful entity when one wants to judge your credibility, is how much numbers, the quantity of numbers that you have. But as I've said, and I've tried to explain this to you, it's been 40 years here at Greater Detroit, since '76, so it's over 40 years, 4 decades, in dealing with the area of prevention of first teenage parenthood among our school-age youth. From this 40 years, we've learned to look away from the numbers. Look away. Because people will then begin to analyze the success or failure of your agency or what you're trying to do based on your numbers. And see, we're talking about something that when they say service, this is the way you service teen parenthood. And prevention is preventing second and further. But see, Greater Detroit says, well, wait a minute. No, we want to prevent the first one. So though there's not many avenues to get funding for prevention, but the monies that are available are there for service. And when they look at us, they analyze us, or evaluate us directly next to those agencies that are servicing the teen parent problem. And they look at their numbers, and they look at our numbers. Well, the services are opposite, but they're analyzing us the same way. And this is the way that when we're out here now in the bigger forum, they look at us, they look at the numbers. Look at these small numbers. Look at it. How can you be credible? Well, I want to tell you something, and I want to try to make this as quickly and as succinctly as I can. I speak all over. People ask me to speak, and I speak to corporations, foundations, government entities, and try to get them to look at this area of prevention, preventive services first, then we serve. Opposite. I had just spoken, and I'll tell a little story, and I guess I'm honor bound not to mention names or agencies. I just spoke with this corporation, and I just had spoken with them, and they gave me the standard thank you, and we'll take your information up on an advisement the next time we make donations to the poor. Well, I was walking down the corridor, and apparently I got lost, and I started backing up, going the other way, and then I happened to walk by this office. And there was the executive. They didn't see me. The executive or the liaison person, and there was another person in there. And this person says, they were talking, and he was very upset. He apparently heard me speak, and he was very upset. He says, and this is the truth, he says, I've been giving to this corporation, and we have been giving to these places that you told us to give to. They're servicing the problems of the poor. But here this guy is saying that for every poor agency that's serviced, there's also a prevention service. And none of them gets funded. And the person, I had backed up, so I wanted to hear all what was going on, so I was listening at the door. He tried to give him the spiel, well, we can't fund every agency. He says, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that you knew that there was prevention agencies and there was service agencies. and you never gave the preventions a dime. Well, why? And he told him, he says, from now on, I want some money to go to the prevention agencies, and I won't mention who they were. But that was one person. The power of one. And I'm going to maybe tell you like if he was saying, and the guy wanted to argue back, and he says, the hell with Rippy. He's not important. He's not important. The important thing is that you knew. You knew, and you selectively put them into your little pet projects. Put the money into your little pet projects. And that's wrong. And you see, the major foundations, of which many have funded the Greater Detroit, who are now showing a great deal of disdain for me, lacking in credibility, low numbers. You see, Kellogg Foundation, Skillman, Jewish Foundation. This is just the Michigan foundations, but you talk about others, Robert Wood Johnson's. See, the Joyce Foundation, these organizations, they know me. They know, and they know what I'm saying. And what I'm saying is very, very succinctly, very specifically, you're taking people's money. You're taking people's money and providing it to service all the while you know their prevention efforts are dealing with the same problem. You see? The same way with your taxes. Our governor, use the tax, and when you have in your hand a proposal to say, hey, wait, we're going to try to prevent these problems first with the first penny, and we're going to use the other 99 cents to service the problem. You see? So when people look and say numbers, I say if you're honest and if you believe in what you're doing, you might say the same thing that this guy says. The hell with this Rippy. There's an issue here. There's an issue here. And we're using tax dollars. We're using foundation dollars. We're using corporate dollars. And we owe it to them. We owe them to give them the truth. And if we keep flip-flopping and misusing and taking the public's money, when all the time we have eminent insight that there's another way to do this thing. You see? There's power in one. I believe there's power in you. My calling, I feel that at this point is to try to get you to see it. And when you see it, maybe you'll do what's right, what this gentleman said. We need to give the prevention efforts a chance. Ladies and gentlemen, again, there's power in one. And I believe that's you. I just got to find the right button to push. Again, thank you for looking in. We'll see you next week. My name is Creighton Rippey. I'm the director of the Greater Detroit Community Outreach Center here in Detroit, Michigan. Thank you.